Highway 64, almost to US 71, there's a truck shop out there that it's on the north side of the road, and they got a whole yard full of sleepers out there. So the sleeper for the truck, which is this section, on the Peterbilts, they got a deal where you can swap them out. Now, the way this one's built, it's all one piece. But those just a sleeper things, yeah, you can pretty well dig a hole in the side of a hill and stick that thing in there and just cover it back up. Like, I guess if you were really concerned.
In a quarter mile, use the middle lane to turn left onto US 71.
Dig a hole in the ground, put it on a base of rock where it'll drain out, and then put that sleeper in there, and my God, you got yourself a bunker. And also in the field, I've seen them used as a kind of like, put you in mind, deer blind, or if you got like your kids are waiting on the school bus down by the road type of deal, or an outpost. Just you want to get out of the weather type of thing, you can just set it in the field anywhere, and you can pick them up. They're designed to be light, and you can fabricate any kind of door on there, but they actually make curtains, and they also make Tiano covers that have the Velcro. So you can cover that with a leather via Velcro on the cheap. Cover that opening for getting
at the light.
There.
Use the middle lane to turn left onto US 71.
Talk about a tent. I mean, that's the way to go right there. You got some cabinets. You got a bed. Hey, it's the thing. And then I seen I'm at Highway 71 and 64. Currently dodging the scales. But there's a lot of truck repaired out through there, and there's some capabilities that, if you're in the Fort Smith, Arkansas area, drive down there and go visit your truck repair shops. I seen a box truck for sale. It looked like it was on the cheap side, and it had the good box on it. So, I mean, that's if you want to do some stealth camping or whatever, or build you a boat.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto the I-40 East ramp to Little Rock.
What they call it, bulldoze, and it had a winch on the front of it already. So it looked like it was ready to go. So depending on where you're at in your stage of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, I know a couple different people that have placed the
turn right onto the I-40 East ramp
unit inside the Quonset hut that has the steel reinforced.
In a quarter mile, merge onto I-40 East.
So you start off with the Quonset hut, right? Well, actually, you start off halfway up the hill, you dig it out, and you pour your pad for what you're going to do, and do like a stem wall, and that helps a ton with your drainage out of the hill. And then you want to do gravel at least 18 inches deep around the out edges of your pad, but make sure your pad, the edge is at the slope. It seems to help immensely later on for your longevity. So say you got a 2-foot.
Continue on I-40 East for 139 miles.
Do 18 inches of rock over here like this. Then when you form it up, put the outside edge of your stem wall on an angle slightly for water diversion purposes, especially in the back. Okay? Got your stem wall done, and then put up your Quonset hut. And, angle of the hill, Quonset hut starts in here and it comes all the way out the front. In ideal conditions at the front of the Quonset hut, but inside of it, or potentially inside of it later, water well. That's incredible. But you can do the hog panels. They seem to do great. But spray foam the inside, spray foam the outside of your Quonset hut, and then you just spray it, and then tie your steel. A lot of people use like when you're building a road or whatever, they'll tie rebar and all that. It don't have to be that tough. But you don't want it to rust. When you rust, it expands. And that's what breaks the concrete. Them fence panels, 16 foot long, they're galvanized. They don't rust. I mean, they'll go a long time and never rust. So you got your insulate on the inside and on the outside, and you run all your electric inside via conduit, like commercial, right? And then you can extend the height with your stem wall. That's cost effective and diverts the water. So there's multiple reasons besides just those two, but that's real good. So inside this thing, I mean, you can park tractors and all kinds of stuff in there. It's just a shop building, whatever else like that. But you can put that sleeper in there, bam, now you got a sleeper, all right? And then with the setup that I got, I mean, you can be just as, you can live in there, man. And because you're inside the hill, you got the ambient temperature of the earth, so your geothermal heat/cool temperature stabilization is great. And then you can dig a pipe into the hole or out the back, go straight up with it, and then bring it inside the house. So the air flows through the pipe and then into the Quonset hut, and then you got some type of fan or outlet where it'll naturally come out the front and the everything's in the back. So now you're getting ambient air circulating, which is real good. Through the front of it with some greenhouse inspired glass works, and you get some light that way during the daytime, but you can also get the roll down steel doors, which you can make yourself way cheaper than buying it. You know what I mean? It's a strip of metal, weld a freaking link and chain on it, repeat the process, put the links together with carabiners till it's the right height. Put it on a track, like a block and tackle, so you can pull it up, lower it down. You know what I mean? Real basic, easy to build. Another thing I've seen is the chain link fence, because the chain link fence rolls up, but it's heavy. It's real heavy, so you got to have a substantial structure. You're getting ready for the end of the world. You might want a substantial structure to begin with, right? But you can put little strips of metal on your chain link fence. I did just roll it up, just spool it at the top, and just lower it down, roll it up. You know what I mean? Real easy to self-engineer. For the red deck engineer in you. Anyway, put this across it. You got your foam. Put your panels, which won't rust. Put your shotcrete. Now you can do the shotcrete relatively thin and wait 2 weeks. Do another layer. Wait 2 weeks. Do another layer. Now your shotcrete has 3 layers of fence panels buried in this thing, and you're doing pretty good, right? So then, like if you're real lucky, you got a wood chipper and you're pretty close to some place that has used windmill blades. Like if you go to, there's a place in Texas, I forget the name of it, I think it's on 20, down by Sweetwater. There's a field full of them. Anyway, run these subbitches through a wood chipper, and then you can blast that on top of there and resin on top of that for your waterproof structure. Basically, building a fiberglass boat hole over your stainless steel reinforced concrete. And the Quonset hut is really like the beginning, but it's not the spine. You know what I mean? So we're building an exoskeleton over the top of this thing, and by spraying it with the foam on the inside and the outside, that will give it the structure that's necessary for the first layer of shotcrete. Okay, and you might shoot it once, let it set, shoot it again. Just to let it dry out. And then, you know what I mean, on the first layer. then come back heavy with the second layer. You know what I mean? Maybe make it a full 2 inches thick. You know what I mean? And then the third layer, come back and, you know, spray it while it's wet, toss some more panels to it. And I do the panels long ways, and then sideways, and then long ways, right? So it's layered, you know what I mean? And there's little to no reason for me to tie all this together, you know what I mean? Because, yeah, anyway, it is going to cost significant amounts of money. Significant. Okay, but if you got 16-foot sides, and you put a 3-foot concrete stem wall, you've increased everything you're doing without adding all this extra to the top of it, right? And so by the time you get done with this, you got between 6 and 8 inches of concrete reinforced 3 times, and then you built a bolt hole over that. Okay, and at this point, slowly fill it from the bottom up with creek gravel to give it the drain that it's going to need. And once you get the gravel all the way to the top, everything you dug out of the hole, start adding that back. So your creek gravel, then you want to hit it with dirt, then you want to hit it with your sand and backfill and everything, and then just rebuild the hill to look like another lump. And then, of course, at the very front of this thing, you're going to leave at least 3 of the Quonset hut pieces, because you add them up as you're putting it together. Leave 3 exposed for future expansion. And then on the outside of this deal, you can stack containers. So at the entrance of this thing, if you got a container, on one side and a container on the other side, you can lay them sticking out like an entryway, or you can lay them sideways with the entrance here, and then this all is just blocked off, and you can do some of your backfill on top of that to cover that up. And now you got a garage over here and a garage over there, but also you can spread them out wider than the entrance, and then get one of those spans to cover your 2 40-foot containers. So I got a 40-foot container over here, I got a 40-foot container over here, and I spread this thing by 80 foot, and it's coming out 40 foot, right? So I can either back that up a little bit and have a door swinging on the inside, and on the inside do a 40 and a 40, 40 and a 40, butt to butt. So now just you pull up to this thing and there's doors, and then there's a big span, and I just got gravel here. So I can pull into this deal with all my equipment or whatever else like that, and have it somewhat shielded from, hail, fire, earth is trying to kill me, whatever. And then inside this deal, where the Quonset hut actually is, up inside of here, I can have a false back. So whosoever comes over and they're looking, or they're sniffing with a drone, or doing whatever, the chances of them knowing that that's there is minimal. Okay, now if you're actually a redneck and you don't give a shit what things look like, but you're crazy like a fox, now live inside this open deal, or maybe put your trailer house out there somewhere, very, very economical trailer house setup, and then just all your construction debris and stuff like that, dig you a road where people can come up there and they can throw their shit above your Quonset hut. So when they're done, shingles is real good. So free dump, and they can come out there and just dump their trash on top of this thing. Okay, so as they're dumping their trash over the years, this is going to build up, and you're going to have resources. So at first, just park that old car up there, and here's another one, whatever like that, and then when you go to the sale on the first Saturday of the month or whatever, you get down there to EJ's, and it's the end of the sale, and they say this whole lot for what money, and you're like $10, and then nobody else bids. Now you're stuck with 2 pickup loads of just dang near junk. But if you need it, it's exactly what you need. Because it's farm leftovers, right? So start throwing that. That's what I call junk. I'm not talking about dirty diapers and empty tin cans. I'm talking salvage yard.
There are police reported ahead.
But not just that Turbinex trick looked just like Border Patrol. That's crazy. It must have been a Border Control that they put the Turbinex sticker on. That's crazy. Yeah, that'll make somebody mad. Anyway, I'm just gonna post this. I just wanted to tell you all about the sleepers that are available over there. You can get an old one that's clapped out and the interior is junk for probably $100. And yeah, I don't know that I would wedge it up into a tree, but I'm not going to tell you not to either, because that sounds like a badass tree house. Like if I was trying, if I'm up on the hill and I'm watching my gate, if I can set in the sleeper, chances are there's plenty of room to stack capabilities all around me and my buddy, and we can take turns snoozing. And never forget that actual telephones still exist. Like, you can get a landline, get the line yourself, power it yourself, and call the house from the gate using a landline that has no connection to the telephone company at all. Like, it's your phone's, your little connection box plugged into your solar panel. And you can also use the VHS tapes. I like buying the ones from the it's hard to find them now, but used to, when the gas stations would close down, it'd say for sale or whatever like that. The bait shop and the gas station was always the best. Sometimes you can find them all together in one. But go in there and buy up everything for the minnows, because that's your hydroponics, the whole system, all for pennies on the dollar. And then your VHS surveillance. We got one from a store down in Texas, and that guy had 31 cameras in a VHS system that would it would switch from recording on this head to recording on this head, and then rewind this tape automatically, and then it'd start rewinding over here again. And it was boxed out. I think you could watch 6 cameras at a time, but that guy had 24 cameras on that place, and a whole box. He had a case of VHS tapes. I don't even know where you can buy them nowadays, but the VHS tapes, he had a whole case of them that were still never. The box was never. To this day, the box has not been opened. And it's a big box. I mean, it's big. Box is, 3 foot by 18 inches. Anyways, yeah, full of tapes. I don't know how many of them's in there, but plenty. And we've been closed circuit surveillance at Tickertoo for a long time, and all that stuff came from that store. I believe I gave that guy $2,500 in total, and he had 4 of the black big tubs, and you put them on a brick. You put a brick inside of it, but you set them up off the ground so you don't have to lean over. And then it had the pumps and everything like that. It was just for minnows. But we put them at the farm and did hydroponics. So instead of this pumping and recirculating, this is pumping up to the top of this gutter system. And we used a gutter system. We went ahead and painted it a secondary time. It came painted already, but we painted it again with the latex. And it wasn't paint. It was the roof coating. Mostly because that's what I had. But it's a latex base that you can put.
Please reduce speed.
What? Not even speed.
Please reduce speed.
I'm going the speed limit. Anyway, so the pump goes to the wall inside the shed, and the shed has gutter, grape gutter. And we painted it with the elastomeric coating, and we run water through it after it was dry and sent the water off for a water sample. We sent one that was just out of the well, and then another one that came out of the apparatus, and it came back with the exact same results for both. So apparently it's working. I don't know, probably need to check it again. But then we put creek gravel in it, and then soil, and then they got these little old foamy things. You can plant the stuff in there, and then like it'll grow or whatever like that. So the water is going up in here, and it goes across, and they're just barely at an angle. And the water's up here going at the top, and it goes, I believe there's got to be 15 of these sub-bitches on the wall, and it's the full length of the shed. I think the shed's 16 foot by 8 foot. So you got 16, 8, and then another 16 on this side, and it'll keep enough food growing for probably, I'm gonna say 4 people. Like if you're eating, we put tilapia in there because the tilapia is super easy to grow, and they won't repopulate more than the size. Like they naturally, adapt to the size of the water that they're in. So with our containers, I think there's like 7 to 13 all the time, and there's 9 of them. And then we got 16, 16, and 8 for the sections of gutter. And then the plants are growing in the gutter. But the water's filtering through. So we got one pump that goes to each wall for a total of 3. And there's 3 going to one wall, there's 1 on the back wall, and there's 6 on this wall. And we got the dehumidifier thing in there, and then we got the mini split where you can set the thermostat, so it just stays like 79 degrees with the purple lights growing all the time, right? So this shed is 4. I think it is 4 foot back into the hillside. And at the front of this is you go through a 20-foot container. So there's a 20-foot container. You go through it, and the actual doors for the container are stuck into the hill, and they open up inside the shed. And the shed was a leftover shed from a job I did back when I was doing Skips Home Services, and then we built out doing footers for new trailer houses. And that's when I got introduced to the Case 580 Super L with Extend-A-Hoe, which is, I mean, the cat's me out if you're digging like I'm talking about. You just got to reach in there, scoop, and pull back out, and then hump and dump. You know what I mean? So that little extra, swing over there and scoop ability and then dump, that's the thing. But once you start going into the hill, the Extend-A-Hoe, where like the forearm gets longer, that's where it's at. That's why I like that. And then because it's actual pneumatic tires, I'm not skidding everywhere I go. So the overall impact, if I'm going into the wilderness to create, I'm not leaving skid steer tracks, I'm leaving backhoe tracks, which are tractor tracks. And you can come from different angles at different times and leave it alone a while, let the vegetation come, and then do it again, and pack your road in and out of there. But with the vegetative state over the course of 3 summers, you can't even tell the road's there. Like if you don't know there's a road there, it's not a road. It's just it's just there. But I can drive this semi down through there and not get stuck because I know the road's there. And I know where I have to turn, because it looks like you can drive straight over there, but you have to go around and over here, and then around this other deal, and then come in like this, or you're going to get stuck near shit. Because, dig a hole and put light coverage where it looks like a road, and then make your road curvy. Anyway. And, you know, I'm not talking about you build a deadfall to kill elephants or nothing crazy. I just mean your average, you know, F-150 four-wheel drive is going to have a bad day. It's going to take you a while. You know, I mean, we're not building the wall of China. You know, we're just like increasing the inconvenience. Because if I build the Great Wall of China, they're like, there's a fucking wall of China right there. But if I make it super inconvenient because you're like coming to, you know, do whatever for whatever reason, and I don't want that, you know, if you have permission, you will also have a guide. If you do not have permission, I don't like you. And since I don't like you, I want to increase your reasons to give up. I don't care who you are. Like, it doesn't have to be a bad actor. It could be just like somebody lost. They're like, okay, now the truck's stopped. I'm going home. You know what I mean? That's the thing. But that's also like, you know, could be somewhat of ill intention with whatever authority backup or foreign national type of try to get you guy, whatever. Anyways, for me it makes sense. For me and mine. Maybe not for you. And, you know, when you're doing this shotcrete and stuff like that, you know, you're thinking, you know, I'm going to go get this truck and all this other kind of stuff. Well, they have a pneumatic blower that attaches to a semi-truck that runs off the PTO. That can be modified to blow your concrete dust on top of this thing. You can spray it with water after the dust is on there. Like, you don't have to call a concrete mixer and a pumper truck to come out there and run the concrete 400 foot in the air and reach over 20 foot and fall back and all this bullshit. We're not building a high rise. We're rednecks and we're poor. So, you know, we're just like, we're using some leftover shit that we found down by the river or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, and your average oil field truck that's been left behind due to the fact the frame is broken in half will have just about everything you need on it. And that PTO can be run off of the back of a tractor where you hook up all your 3-point attachments and all that. That's fine. You can do that. Back up there with your, you know, baby Kubota 24 horse diesel. You know what I mean? Well, it wasn't came with a farm to market package or whatever like that. I think Dad's got one. He paid like $18,000. Now they want like $30,000. They don't even come with a trailer. Anyway, I can hook that up to that blower and slowly pour bags of Portland cement and sand into it. You know what I mean? But I want to pre-mix that in a wheelbarrow and then dump that in there real slow. Let it blow it up on top of the Quonset hut. So that's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? And you can do this a little bit at a time. It don't matter. And I think there's, you know, cover the whole thing, which is what I did. And then cover it again or whatever like that. But then there's also like build the stem wall and just keep growing the stem wall. But the problem with that is you want to do at least one layer where it's fully, because the spray foam will give the arch enough integrity to hold an inch of concrete in all these panels. I know it will. Like, this ain't a guess. This ain't, you know, I've done that. It works, okay? And then the thing with the plants feed the fish feed the plants. Plants feed the fish feed the plants. So you're pumping the water. Don't put your pump in your minute tank on the bottom of the tank. Something goes wrong, you'll pump it so it's dry, lose all your fish. Put a cement block in there, something goes wrong, the pump runs dry, cement block height before it drains all the water. You know what I mean? So that's a safety deal, especially in the wintertime or whatever. If you got this shed in the hill, you don't really have to worry about it. And then the mini split stuff is good. And because they did so much with the marijuana. Like, there's so many places. Here a while back, I called it the Oklahoma land run that nobody knew about, because all these farms were going out of business because they upped the property tax and, you know, had some backer from China, and then now they lost the family farm because the, you know, homie don't play that. They, you know, the government regulations changed or whatever. And now here's, you know, a 15-acre homestead that's got, you know, capacity to grow freaking 500 pounds of weed. Well, fuck that. We don't want weed. We want fish and broccoli. You know what I'm saying? Fuck weed. You know, and so taking over that stuff, but that industry brought about, there's a lot of secondary stuff on the market. And it's been on the market for like 2 years. So there's a lot of people that know what they're doing. It's very easy to find a stoner and be like, how do I grow this weed? How do I set this hydroponics up? And they know everything about it, where to get the stuff and blah, 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 this and that. And then when they find out that you're not growing weed, they might not like you as much as they did previously. But all that changes when you hand them $500. All of that just goes out to, they're like, 30 and third. That's all it takes. Used to, it was a $100 bill when I was a kid. Nothing to motivate a man like a $100 bill. Well, now it's $500 because of inflation. Anyways. So with the shed, with our protein and vegetable, and then the 20 stuck to it. I don't care about this 20-foot container. I got this 20-foot container, I believe I traded a pickup and a box blade for a different pickup and the container. And I don't think I had any money, cash money, tied up in any of these things at all. And then I sold the truck for money, as a matter of fact. And I think I lived off that for a month while I was building the shed. Plus bought the stuff for the shed. And most of that was leftovers off a different job anyway. And the entire shack is leftovers from remodeling. Every bit of it. It started out as a house in Shoto that had to be torn down because the government said so. And Dad put that shit on a trailer. He tore apart a travel trailer, put the material for the house onto that trailer, and then pulled it with a half-ton pickup to Locust Grove and started building the shack. And then I come along there and helped out with some stuff. And then as far as going to the store buying stuff, less than $1,000. And this is a what is it, 20 by 20? Well, let's see here. That'd be 24 by 24 two-bedroom house, basically. But we call it the shack. It's the shack. So, and the 12-inch on centers. It's designed to be mobile. It can be, take the ridge off of it, hook up half to this truck, hook up the other half to this truck, and drive down the road. We can hook up the shack and be mobile in 45 minutes. And due to that fact, it is not a house. So the taxes went up by $13 instead of $1,200, which over the next 50 years would be, $65,000 in taxes. That's like a whole year's work. Yeah, we ain't doing that. And then, the more you hide this stuff inside the hill, the less they're going to tax you on this stuff. Like, they don't know it's there. If they don't know it's there, and you're not getting taxed on this infrastructure, the Chinese don't know it's there. Neither do the zombies. The tweakers around you probably know, for the record. But the tweakers only steal from the other tweakers. Very rarely do tweakers venture out into the kinfolk to try to steal their shit. Because we're more squared away. And like, the freaking law will show up and see the kinfolk and see the tweaker and be like, "You're coming with me, tweaker." Like, you just look suspicious, you know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, their heathen, drug addict ways will put them in a negative situation under those circumstances. Like, so they just leave you alone. But if they go over to Jimmy's house and Jimmy's got a meth lab, you know what I mean? They'll go over there and steal from Jimmy and then help him look for it. Because Jimmy ain't calling the cops, because Jimmy has a meth lab. You know what I mean? So the tweakers steal from the tweakers. But the kinfolk, the church folk, we don't steal to begin with. And then they don't steal from us. And we have guns. You know what I mean? Like, in general. I do not. But everybody I know does. Because I'm more of a reformed criminal. So, you know, I need to call and see if my pardon can come in. I'm in the process of trying to get pardoned. I paid thousands of dollars, but I'm just waiting for the process to happen. So, trying to restore my rights, but I'm a cheap bastard, so I didn't expunge my record. I just filed for the pardon. And we'll see how it goes. The lawyer might come back and be like, "Well, you know, you're going to have to expunge this stuff before the pardon or whatever." But it's been about a year. They said it takes 18 months. And believe it or not, your credit score is a big deal. So, I don't know. You know, your interactions with the law enforcement and stuff like that's a big deal too. Which, I don't do. All I do is work and live in a truck. So, I'm a radical Christian. Like, I freaking gave somebody a sandwich. And I'm certified non-violent. So, that should be good. Anyway, so if you got your food stash, you know what I mean? Like I seen a good man, and he was like, he was talking about how the Bible's like, don't use your stuff. Let everything rest and just eat off last year's stuff. And I don't know how he's doing with that, but that sounds very substantial. And I didn't think I could do that until I bought meat. I just come off a hog time. I think I spent like $250 on all chuck roast. Just like armload after armload of chuck roast, right? I found that, I think they mislabeled it, $2.48 a pound. I mean, fill the pan, freaking chuck roast, 2 of these things in a package for like $15, $15 to $18. I told this, I said, load every one of them that's $20 or less. And yeah, it filled a basket, a whole entire basket. And of course, I broke it down, got it out of the styrofoam stuff, and freezer bagged it, put it in the freezer. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. It's just a little experiment. Like, what happens if you just grab a chunk of meat, hit it with Slap Your Mama, put it in a Ziploc bag, throw it in the freezer, take it out of the freezer, cook it in a crock pot and eat it. That's the plan, right? Because, like, I'm not there, and Tracy's busy and all that. I'm like, Dennis, would you? And every one of these bags has 2 roasts. So it's like 6 pounds. And I'm like, take this, open it, put it in that, pour water on it, turn it on, put this lid on there, click it down. Because our crock pot has the little snap thingies on the end, so you can take it with you somewhere. Keeps the lid on, and which is really great. Like, don't buy a crock pot that don't have that, because like, it's a game changer. I put that thing on there, snap that lid down. Now it's almost a pressure cooker. Like, it does build some pressure. And bro, crock pot here, lid setting on it. Crock pot here, the lid snapped down. Enormous difference. You know, you take that long fork with the 2 tines, grab a chunk of meat out of the non-latched, get in there exact same time. Open the one with latches, stick it in there, go to pick it up, and it just falls off there. It's just enough pressure. And if you get the chuck roast, that's just a different cut from a chuck steak. That is where it's at. I mean, that is where it's at. And maybe, Just cut up some onion or whatever, throw it there. Water, steak, slap your mama. I put the skipper blend in mine, but that's just me. I put that. I got that in my eggs. You know what I mean? Like, I got skipper blend right here. Look, there's some leftover eggs. Did you see the skipper blend? I cooked 8 eggs this morning. I just scrambled them because I've been in the truck for about a week. So I'm like, I don't know about that. Go ahead and eat some eggs while I'm eating. While you're driving down the road, making about $35 an hour. Anyway, so by setting this stuff up and everything, you know, I was under the impression that I needed to be fully squared away before I came out here and drove a truck. You know what I mean? So I'm out here driving the truck, and this is my, you know, like get humble and work for somebody else. So like this morning, like I literally texted my wife this morning. I'm like, I have to do what the Mexican says, and I have to do what you say. And I say that a bit derogatory, even though like I'm not racist or anything else like that. I don't want to do what anybody says. So that derogatory you hear in my voice is I don't want to do what my wife says. I don't want to do what anybody tells me to do. You know what I mean? Because I just like, I don't like that. So, hey, I think we got a scale coming out. That's why I was dodging the scales when I started this. I stayed overnight over at the deal, and I got loaded. But the only cat scale was...
In 600 feet, turn left onto South Crawford Street. Turn left onto South Crawford Street.
So I had to come over here, which meant I didn't weigh the wagon. According to this air gauge right here, my suspension gauge, I'm good to go, but...
In a quarter mile, turn left onto West Clark Road.
Extra minutes to avoid the scale. I'm not at the scale house. They can't write me no tickets. There again, making it make sense. That's real good. You want to make sense. I heard the government quit making pennies. Like the government literally does not make sense anymore. Oh, I guess I got dimes and nickels. Anyway, I guess I'm just going to leave you with that. You know, the sleeper off of Peterbilt makes a great camping place. Outdoor shelter.
At the light, turn left onto West Clark Road.
You got a big tree. If you winched it up and you just cabled this thing off to like 3 trees, you know, with just, you know, Peterbilt in the middle type of deal, and you got good cables holding it up, you know, probably ½ inch, going to about 4 or 5 different trees.
In 400 feet, turn
Nobody
right.
would see that coming, dude. Nobody would.
Take the next right, then turn right.
Okay, parking, fueling. How about the scale?
Take the next right.
There it is. All right, Rock Hill. Get out there and put your pickaxe to work. Remember that Case 580 Super L with...
In 800 feet, turn left.
Get 2 of them. The ones made in the 80s. They're diesel. They're freaking fantastic. I think the one that I was using, we had to replace a couple hoses when we got it. And we got it for like $6,000, $6,000 or $8,000. And, yeah, used it for 3 years. Replaced a couple hoses. You know what I mean? That was it. We pulled it on a trailer. We pulled it with a dump truck. A little baby dump truck. Anyway, I gotta go because I got push buttons on this thing to do the scale. See? Scale. Oh, kitty cat.